Viewer discretion advised. In the early 2000s, Subway launched one of its most successful and well-known ad campaigns. No, not that one. I'm talking about Jared Fogle, or just Jared from Subway.
I think if we're writing the history of Subway at this point, the two big events you'd point to are Jared coming on the scene and the $5 footlong.
He is the man who lost more than 200 pounds only eating Subway sandwiches.
Hi, I'm Jared the Subway guy, and this is my story.
At a time where consumers were looking for better choices, Subway set themselves apart by offering fast food without the fat, grease, and dirty play structures that plagued their competitors. Many people saw sandwiches as a healthier option, and with Jared, now they had proof. However, unbeknownst to Subway, they had just enabled a man who was hungry for something else.
To illegally exploit children.
Jared Fogle is a monster.
Child pornography charges.
His name is Jared, and he'll lead you to Subway. That's where it goes.
Dude, what the fuck happened to the guy who did the Subway thing?
Despite craving kids more than a turkey club, Jared Fogle didn't have a great childhood, mainly because he suffered from a condition known as being an absolutely disgusting human being. He was consuming 10,000 calories a day. In college, his weight peaked at more than 400 pounds. Now, if you think any of this is healthy, think again.
You're morbidly obese and you're going to die.
Jared suffered from sleep apnea, a common symptom of obesity, where his gluttonous pie pipe was so fat that it literally suffocated him in his sleep. He was exhausted, falling asleep in class, on the bus, and one time while driving. His car veered off the road and into a ditch. This near-death experience gave him the inspiration to change his diet. He racked his sleep-deprived brain, took off his pants, that can't be right, and concluded that he was going on a Subway diet. And it worked. He was losing weight at a rapid pace. His college classmates were noticing him transform before their very eyes, from a hideous ham planet to an average-looking white guy. One student wrote an article for the school newspaper, and Jared's heroic story ended up getting published in Men's Health.
Wow.
People everywhere were asking about these magic Jared sandwiches to lose weight. Subway had a golden, previously obese geese that laid a perfect marketing pitch right in their lap. They shot more commercials, and Jared's fame was spread across America faster than an Amber Alert.
That one little test commercial just sort of took off, and then before I knew it, all the big-time talk shows started calling me, and now in the last 7 years or so, I've become known as the Subway guy.
He did talk shows, radio, fun run, movie premieres, movies themselves, animation. He was mentioned in an episode of Friends, a line in Austin Powers, a joke in SNL. He made an appearance at WWE. This guy was everywhere. And it didn't matter where he was. He always brought along his ginormous pants. He showed his pants to the news. He showed his pants to celebrities. He even showed his pants to rooms full of children.
Luke, Serena, go get me Jared from Subway.
Now, some were a little skeptical about this weight loss. After all, he had lost 245 pounds in only 11 months.
What about this commercial for a Subway sandwich with this guy Jared? Is anyone buying this for a second? Was he supposedly lost 100 pounds on an all hoagie diet? Does it not boggle your mind to contemplate the insane quantities of food this disgusting human being must have been eating before?
Do people actually believe that you have to eat Subway to lose weight? Honestly.
Jared lost his weight
in a very specific way, ordering very specific things from Subway.
When you looked at what he was eating, Jared was consuming less than 1,000 calories a day. This kind of eating can actually be pretty dangerous. Subway couldn't even recommend the diet, instead telling people to check with their doctor before attempting what Jared did.
So, ask yourself, is this diet realistic?
In his book, Winning Through Losing, 13 Lessons for Turning Your Life Around, he talks about having terrible hunger pains. Hunger is not a comfortable feeling. But just tell yourself, hunger is good. It's concrete proof you're losing weight. Don't think of it as your body's desperate cry for nourishment. Think of it as a compliment, a pat on the back. Despite discouraging his diet, Subway held Jared's story up as a shining example of how healthy their sandwiches really are. People attempted the diet with little success.
Police say this is one teen's revenge over a failed diet. 4 robberies in 4 days, all of them Subway restaurants in Alabama.
He stated to the detective that he had attempted the Jared diet and it had not worked for him, and he felt like he should get his money back.
The Subway diet clearly says you can eat whatever Subway sub you want as many times a day as you want, and you will get skinny.
However, criticisms were quickly drowned out by the overwhelming support for the Subway diet and the man who proved it could be done. And Jared rapidly grew his net worth to $15 million just by showing off his enormous pants. Yeah! As he was traveling, he started to switch his focus from healthy eating to teens and children.
Yeah! Jared, Jared from Subway, and actually spoke at the high school I used to go to.
And what I'm about to show you guys actually is a pair of my old pants that I used to actually have to wear.
Even if I can just reach a handful of kids at a time when I'm speaking to them, means the world to me. I know what it's like to be a heavy kid.
We have a program called Jared's Joggers, which sort of ties into running, getting kids excited about running.
Texting while driving is a real unsafe habit that a lot of people have, especially young drivers. So we're here at Granby High School today trying to get that message out.
And the high school kids and the middle school kids and just really trying to reach out to kids, especially on this trip, trying to reach as many as we possibly can and share with them. Let's talk about the positive things that kids are doing.
Now, most of the media saw this as an honest attempt to help and give back. But soon, that would all change. After earning worldwide fame, Jared started the Jared Foundation, the worst named foundation since NAMBLA. It was supposed to help children deal with childhood obesity. He started this nonprofit with a man named Russell Taylor. In April of 2015, Taylor was arrested on the charges of distributing and producing child pornography.
What the fuck is that?
It looked like the two of them were interested. I can't do this joke. It looked like the two of them were interested in something very different than food going inside kids. Also, it turns out the Jared Foundation never offered anyone any grants and instead spent most of its money paying its executives, Jared and Russell Taylor. Jared quickly cut ties with Mr. Taylor, saying that he had no knowledge of the child pornography, but a few months later they raided his home as well, seizing laptops, hard drives, pants, anything that could be used as evidence. Some believe that it was Russell Taylor that tipped the FBI off into investigating Jared. However, knowing what we know now, I think it was the other way around. Let me point your attention to Rochelle Herman Walrond, the unsung hero, because hero is a type of sandwich, of this story. Way back when Jared was first starting to get popular, he made an offhanded comment to her that he found children attractive. Rochelle smelled something not so fresh about this Subway guy. She worked to get close to Jared, recording their more private conversations until he admitted to predatory behavior. She took the recordings to the FBI, but they said there wasn't enough evidence to put him away for very long. So they worked together to start building a case. She continued recording their conversations for 4 years. And some of the things in those tapes are pretty horrendous.
Wait, let me see your kids naked. How old are your kids again? 10 and 11.
I would love to see him naked.
Sure.
So which your kids do you think I'll like better seeing naked, your son or your daughter? Do a little touchy-feely things with them, make it feel good. They're very much into exploring and, just a matter of getting them on your side, Little tiny, and I just started. I had this little boy. It's amazing.
Really?
Watching their little. It's amazing. It was probably in Thailand, I guess. We get you sexed up and really get you in a stunned bikini and get them looking at you. Do you know what I mean? Get it while they come to you kind of thing. I think that'll be huge. What if we put a camera in your kids' room? Would it be okay with that? Would you rather have it in your son or your daughter's room? At the very least, and watch them sit down.
My entire life just changed completely because of all this.
Rochelle put a lot of herself on the line, but really helped in sealing the conviction of Mr. Eat Fresh.
Well, thank God you didn't slam the phone down, or we very likely wouldn't know what we know.
Through her, the FBI could watch Jared on a daily basis. They found out where the photos and videos were coming from and monitored his attempts to coerce prostitutes into obtaining children for him.
You saved a lot of people a lot of misery because of what you've done.
All in all, he was charged with receiving and distributing child pornography and attempt to travel to engage in sex with minors. Jared pleaded guilty and was sentenced to 15 years and 8 months. His wife, who was completely blindsided by this whole thing, quickly filed for divorce and full custody of their 2 children. Subway, who had the bad luck of putting a ton of work into rebranding Jared as a family man that same year, had to pull their commercials and drop him as a spokesman. We were so close to seeing some Subway ads with Tom Segura playing Jared's unhealthy brother, Jermaine.
They realize that they can only advertise healthy subs with Jared. So we need to find someone that people would believe eats like a trash can does.
As for Jared Fogle, he spends his days in prison. The appeals went nowhere, but he does have the money to hire some bodyguards and get special treatment. However, a few inmates have taken it upon themselves to overcome these odds.
His brother Steve beat up Jared Fogle.
What those guys do, that's the worst of worst.
It seems that not even mediocre commercial fame can protect you from the fate that most child predators face while incarcerated. A prison yard $5 footlong. Hey, you viewer, thanks for watching, and thanks for making it all the way to the end of the video. Sorry, my voice is kind of losing me right now. Been doing a lot of talking, recording and stuff, so pardon my my tone. But I wanted to make one quick announcement. I wanted to thank Brian and Lance for helping me with the script to this one. It was a ton of fun working with you guys, and I really think it improved the quality of the video and just breathed some life into it. So thank you guys, and that's all I got for you. I will put out videos as fast as I can. I know it's getting a little long, but trying to get some quality content rather than quantity stuff. So with that, bye, and I will see you next time.
Is presumed to be 14 in boys and 12 in girls.
Jared, what is the age of consent?
No.